And we're back. We're celebrating Megan today, y'all. Thank you for joining my live. It's Dr. PNP back in the house. You know that study the foolishness so you don't have to. Thank you for joining me on your lunch break. And I would just like to say that Megan is a savage, classy, bougie, ratchet, sassy, moody, nasty. Acting stupid. What's happening? What's happening? All right. We all know I'm not a born rapper, but I think I was in my last life. When I came back this time, I had to do something else, but I still didn't lose my passion. Thank y'all for stopping by the house. Today we're talking about cheaters. And we're framing Megan and Klay Thompson as our muse. Since the Met Gala was last night, we'll use muse. But when we talk about cheating, I'm talking about cheating in the framework of public relationships. And we're going to use Megan, Cardi B, and Beyoncé. I mean, three different female black superstars, three different men, same situation. But we all think we know. I can't say what we really know. We all think we know what the outcome of each were. And we can kind of talk about what we thought the pitfalls were and if any of these ladies could have handled this better. We start by, let's see, banners. And so we start by saying, like, it's just kind of funny how it works. Whether you're famous or not, if you're a man and you cheat, yay! But if you're a woman and you cheat, somehow they label you a WH. I'm trying to spell it wrong, but you know, HOE. And I don't know if sometimes us ladies, we set ourselves up for it, or if society just has us situated in a way that we couldn't escape it if we tried. Because no matter what we say or do, our reputation is going to precede us, right? And it's all in how other people frame you. I've always had these conversations with friends of mine because in a lot of cases, I think it matters more of how much people know about your personal information. Because when they don't know, then they can just assume things, and that you can kind of make yourself out situational to be either good or bad in the situation, because nobody really knows what goes on inside personal relationships. But for public relationships, these are very different, because how we navigate these can really change a lot. They can even change our reputation in a way that could affect our career, how we get our bag, how other people perceive us according to what type of work we do. It could matter. And so I guess the question becomes not only how to have a public relationship, but what the pitfalls were for some of these ladies, how they could have been better, and what you guys see as the culprit to the online backlash for both Megan and Klay. Like, I've seen people just come out and drag Klay, all of the people in Megan's stratosphere. But then I've also seen men come out and just kind of drag Megan and framing her as the kind of person you would never want to marry. And The question becomes, is it because of the type of music that she does, like the lyrics. But Megan's lyrics really has never led anybody to believe that she was really thought material, because Megan's lyrics are empowering. Have you seen like these lyrics to Savage? Like, I'm gonna give you like the first verse. So the first verse is like, I'm the hood Mona Lisa, break a igga into pieces. Had to X some cheesy iggas out my circle like I'm pizza, which means you're not getting away very much with Megan, because she's telling you up front that she really is not about the foolishness, no matter how you objectify her. Her next line goes on to say, I'm way too exclusive. I don't stop on Insta boutiques. All them little clothes only fit fake booties. All right. So she was not implying at all that she could be easily gotten, easily laid, or even that she was the type of woman that you can kind of play with her no matter who you were. And all of these women we're talking about today, remember Megan, Cardi B, and Beyonce, they bring their own work to the table. They fix their own plates, they set their own table. They honestly are just looking for companionship and somebody to give them a hug. Mostly reassurance, I would say, because needing, in the sense of what a lot of women are groomed to do in relationships, like stability and children, these women are mega rich, so they can have all of this without being committed and staying in relationships that are just unhealthy for them. So I'm calling this like nasty work what some of these men are doing to Megan online. So the question becomes, what Megan implied, because we don't know, when she gave her statement was that he cheated, right? So what Megan is basically saying is, I gave this man everything. I showed up at his mama's for dinner, cooked all his family a whole 7-course meal. I laid it out in the bedroom, showed up at all his games, was supportive as ever, and then you still found it in your orbit to cheat? Ooh, now that's juicy. Because that's saying a lot without saying a lot. It's saying it felt like Megan was completely ready for this relationship. She had put all her eggs in that basket. She's getting older. She felt something she hadn't seen. And it also said a lot about Clay, because it said that she viewed him as the type of person that she could trust these feelings with, right? And if that's the case, then who failed who? Because y'all seen all the pictures online. They've been gallivanting around the countryside all together. But I'm not saying or completely clear if Clay was the one who was publicizing this relationship. Which brings us to the next point. The next point is, if you have a public relationship, does that help or hurt your chances of getting back together and repairing a fractured relationship? So let's examine these three ladies real quick. So Megan, she was posting all online. All of her tweets and chats were filled with pictures of her mom, pictures of her out with Clay and her mama, and let's see, dinner, playing golf, her and Clay. Like, you couldn't get enough of them all over the internet. This wasn't what Clay was doing. This is what Megan was doing. And so I would beg to say, of course, as a woman, we all want to display our relationships. I mean, you can't even scroll on Facebook without seeing everybody's good life going, look at me, look at me, look at my relationship, right? But they're not advertising when they have bad times. And every time I've been in a relationship and there was a cheater, I'm feeling like if my friends didn't know, I had a better chance of taking this Negro back. Because every time I had a friend or two who knew, they were all in my ear with some BS telling me how I need to leave them alone. And I don't know about the Bible and all of this retribution for broken relationships and betrayal, but there are instances where people can actually reconcile and get back together if it wasn't so public. Like there's an extra layer of humiliation that goes along with public relationships when there's been infidelity. Because infidelity's been around since the beginning of man. And I'm not even, my daddy was an old Baptist preacher, so I can't even tell you how many times in the Bible that these men were just, you would call it disgusting today, and they would call it normal. But I'm sure their girlfriends wasn't in their ear going, you know what? You better leave him, because everybody was vying for the same man back in those days and still today. And so if Clay has a whole lot more opportunities to be unfaithful, then I would think that the temptation for him would be a lot more exaggerated than a regular husband or boyfriend. Because not only is this guy very popular and famous, he's naturally good looking, he's an athlete, and he's rich. And so, I mean, people will sleep with your postal worker man for less. I'm just saying. So I guess now when you compare it to what Cardi and Offset went through, and then her and Stefan, now with Offset, there was some humiliation rituals that went along with that. Now, if I was really her girlfriend and the adult in the room, with that one, I would have had to get in their business. And I usually stay out of people's business. But Offset was just flat disrespectful. And he was a repeat offender. My daddy, who was an old Baptist preacher, always said, look, you are hardly going to find a man who is completely faithful. If he's not being unfaithful, he's been thinking about it. Unless you dig him up out the graveyard. Now, I would hate to think that that was a real thing. But even if it was, my dad said, you draw the line when there's disrespect and disregard for your personal feelings. I interpreted that as he need to be hiding his side chick. And if you don't have enough respect for me to get your side chick in place and hide your side chick and make sure you use protection so you don't bring any of that other stuff into my house, then that's the line that is definitely a hard line in the sand. And we'd have to draw it and say, that's okay. But if you can't respect the person that you said you love, the one you've chosen, the one you're committed to, then that kind of moves the goalpost for reconciliation. So with Cardi, I'm thinking that was the right call for her and Offset, and she probably stayed way past the expiration date for that relationship. But her expectation for Stefan was unreasonable. His reputation preceded him, and unless there was a long conversation with him about the baggage he was bringing in that relationship, I hate to say that she put that on herself, but like, when you gonna tell that dog to get off that nail? I guess he's gonna bark until it just hurts enough. But Cardi is a rich woman. Like, she was on the rebound, and she does get grace for being on the rebound. Let me see, Bruce. Beyoncé isn't even in the conversation. Not yet, but I'm getting there. Because if it wasn't for hit records and numbers, Beyoncé wouldn't even mess with these ones. She is thorough and selective. She picked Cardi and Megan and vetted them. Okay, so let's talk about Beyonce and Jay-Z. What was that girl's name? I think her name was Rachel Roy. Remember that? Remember that? All that $1 billion in the elevator? Now, the reason she's in this conversation is, remember, three beautiful Black women exposed to their public relationships, and how do they handle when there's infidelity and betrayal inside the relationship when it's been a very public relationship from the beginning. And I think one of the things that kind of changed the game for Beyonce, though, is her relationships are, for the most part, as private as you could be as a public persona. And guarding that privacy in relationships does kind of help preserve the innocence, the naivety, and the trust, and the respect. Because remember what? Let's go back to what that old Baptist preacher told me, who was my daddy. You draw the hard line in the sand where there is no regard for your public feelings. So, translated, keep your side chick on the side and make sure she understands she's a side chick. She doesn't understand she's a side chick, then we've gotten missed. Now you're treating your side chick like the person you're committed to, and that, to me, is unreasonable, and it's kind of unforgivable. Now, I want to move on because, hey, Miss Hovers, there you go. I'm talking about Black girl magic. We out here doing this, y'all. I'm going to interrupt this and just say that I honestly started my channel as a Kendrick defender, because although I've been a Kendrick day one fan and a West Coast rap fan forever, I was just so disparaged by the one-sided publicity that we were getting coming off of that euphoria. I mean, that rap beef when Drake drop, and it was getting on my nerves. And I had to just step up and say, we ain't having this. But anyway, getting back to Beyonce, I think I want to say the difference between Meg Thee Stallion, let's re-examine. Meg, to me, and I could be wrong, I've tried to do my research, she has been the person who has been front and center on this relationship, not as much Clay. So she did bring her her relationship very public on her own. Was not Clay's doing. With Cardi B, Offset disrespected her, and he was a repeat offender. And he crossed the line of not reminding his side chicks that they were side chicks, like had rumored to have these women all in Cardi's house. Stefan Diggs, that was self-inflicted. It still probably could be recovered, but they have to figure out how to navigate this relationship privately. And I think that's the thing that changed the game for Beyonce and Jay-Z. Because for all intents and purposes, their relationship was as private as it could be as public figures. And the one game changer was, though, therapy. Say it ain't so. You can say it ain't so, but you're wrong. Because therapy heals, y'all. It's hard. It's almost re-traumatizing yourself. But if you can get through therapy, Jay publicly said he went through therapy to try and get this relationship back because he valued his family. And I guess in ending, because I only like for my live to go about 40 minutes because I'm respecting your lunch. In ending this is like, what are the pitfalls that could have been avoided to protect these relationships as they try and have some normalcy in relationships, but they're very public figures? But I'm thinking the very first thing is try and keep your relationship business offline. I know sometimes these bees be all in your business and you want to clap back, but as hard as you can, grit your teeth and try and keep your business off camera. I know you want to flaunt this man because Clay cute. He's real cute. But no, baby, if y'all get it together, it's okay. Just show up on the red carpet with him, and because you just telling people about your man and you making them more interested. Now, as far as Cardi, I just recommend for her, she probably needed a lot of healing before she had a new relationship. So there's a lot of promise for her, even maybe so with Stefan if he gets healing too. But she'll move on to the next man and they'll do fine because she'll get, oh, now she has time to heal from her Offset relationship. And lastly, I'm saying from the outside looking in, the Beyonce and Jay-Z is probably goals. Not because they're rap royalty at this point. It's because Beyonce has mastered the art of silence. I know it's hard for me too. But mastering the art of silence can protect a public relationship. It can keep you from saying stuff that you wish you wouldn't have and trying to take back and walk down. It can protect you against people's perception and opinions. And then it allows you to get the help and therapy you need to recover from your own trauma. Because I think I'll end like this. I once went to the movie and I saw this little old 80-year-old woman and man just to be bopping out of the movie, and the woman reached down and grabbed for his hand, and they almost helping each other to the car, just kind of wobbled to the car. And I looked at them and I said to my friend, how do you get to 80 years old and still want to hold that man's hand? And he said to me, history. So you can't really build up a good relationship, I think, without history and respect. So hanging in there is part of it. And all relationships go through up and down. Finding a place to heal is going to be in private and not in public, y'all. I really did want to play Stephen A. Smith's disrespect and misogyny, but I haven't mastered how to do the live. But I'm going to check out some of these comments and then I'm going to let y'all get on with your day. Thank you so much, Bruce Johnson, for tapping in. I'm so thankful for my people. I only have a few people who are home every day who can tap in, and you're one of them. I respect your opinion. And yes, Beyonce vets a lot of things very thoroughly before she moves. I think she found out early on that talking too much would be problematic after her Destiny Child's debacle. And she mastered that very fast. And it looks like Blue is taking notes. Hey, Miss Thomas, I'm so glad you were able to stop by. I'm trying, I'm all out here. I also saw, thank you, Rose Clemens. Yay! You've been hanging in there with me, Rose, for a while. And GP 5530, Van Wilson. I see would you say that therapy was a game changer for Beyonce and Jay-Z? Absolutely. You got there before I did. That's exactly what I think. Therapy was a game changer, y'all. Y'all know over here at Hip Hop Music and Black Culture, I'm all about hip hop accountability. We have to hold each other and the people we love responsible and accountable, even in music. And I will end with this. Even though today's live was about cheaters, examples of public relationships, this is all about the people we love in hip hop. And hip hop is a lifestyle. And sometimes it includes rap, R&B, Black culture is many things, and it has many nuances. But we have to protect the people that we love. And as far as Megan, I'm trying to protect Megan because she's a savage, classy, bougie, nasty. What's happening? Y'all have a good rest of the day. I'm gonna holler at y'all. We at 32:59. I'm gonna give you 10 minutes of your life back. Thank y'all for stopping by the house.